Hey there, everybody, and welcome to another meteorology segment. What's in your meteorology? Is it full of fraud and nonsense? Well, ours is just full of facts. But we're going to talk about some fraud and nonsense also. First thing we're going to do is look at the jet streams. It's the easiest way to look at global weather patterns. If you're a world surfer and you're trying to figure out where to surf, the jet stream map would be very useful for you. Anyway, the jet stream is doubled up and exhibiting meridional jet stream flow, where it flows north to south and south to north in the northern hemisphere instead of the normal west to east sort of a path. It's also blowing backwards over the northern Indian Ocean. You can see it's blowing east to west here south of India. We also see some serious kinks in the southern hemisphere's jet stream. Places like northwestern Australia still seeing this 180-degree bend here. And for you surfers out there, you want offshore winds. Offshore winds stand up the waves and make them steeper and easier to drop into and faster and just plain bigger and better. Here are the surface winds of the eastern world. Shout out to our viewers from places like Hawaii and Oceania and Southeast Asia. We've still got a cyclonic system here off the coast of the Aleutian Islands there, in between Hawaii and the Aleutians. Let's take a look at the surface winds of the western world. Check it out. There's a no-wind trough in here where there's just calm winds surrounded by higher speed winds. That's not what you would want if you were Christopher Columbus crossing the ocean, for example. That would be unfortunate. Anyway, strong clockwise rotating system here off of eastern South America. Let's take a look at the jet streams here before we continue on. Extreme meridional jet stream flow in places like over the Atlantic Ocean and indeed over the U.S. 180-degree bend happening in the jet stream south of the Great Lakes there. And before we continue on, just let me check the life of the stream here. This video was originally streamed live to Twitch at twitch.tv/smAsho, which might be the ultimate source of most of our content if we decide to pull it entirely from YouTube because we're not getting paid anymore. Healthcare professionals are the most important communicators for addressing climate change. Just in case your healthcare professionals haven't shoveled enough fraud down your throat regarding viruses, now start listening to your healthcare professionals about atmospheric physics. Also, this guy, a true genius from Princeton. It's an Ivy League school, so you should totally trust it, right? How about this story? Princeton researchers discover new way to encourage COVID vaccinations and masking. Yeah, new ways to encourage COVID vaccinations and masking. Now, this guy must be smart. He must be really woke because you can see he has lettering tattooed on his arm. So that's an indication that he is just a really smart dude. He also has a neck tattoo. So that's always an indication that he must be hip. He's hip. The question is, does he know what HIPAA stands for? It stands for the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996 to protect the integrity of your protected health information. Are your healthcare providers concerned about protecting your health information? Is your employer concerned about protecting your protected health information? Are you surrounded by Covidiots? Is it impossible to escape Covidiocy? Do you just want to cough on that? Watch this. Oh my God, I vanished. I thought the COVID was going to vanish, but I vanished. So thanks to this genius, this guy's name is Joel Cooper, a professor of psychology. So this professor of psychology wants to not only tell you about COVID, he also wants to tell you about climate change, probably. Anyway, let's check out the weather.gov map. Just in case you haven't had enough nonsense in your day, let's talk about how hot the planet is. It's so hot that there are frost advisories continuing into summer. I know, summer ends in a few hours, but nonetheless, check out the frost advisories over a large portion of northeast Minnesota, part of Wisconsin, part of Colorado here, and Idaho, as well as some freeze warnings. Those are frost advisories, and those are freeze warnings. Yeah, the planet's so hot that it's cold, folks. That's totally how it works. Bernie Sanders told me so. He's not only an economics genius, He's also an atmospheric physics genius.
It's because of the 1%. The 1% are putting carbon up your wazoo and forcing carbon enemas on everybody. And until we prevent these carbon enemas from increasing the amount of carbon in the atmosphere, the planet will keep getting hotter and hotter until Obama's living room is being lapped at by the Atlantic Ocean.
Here's your NASA Ghost Lightning Mapper. And here's a real-time lightning map from lightningmaps.org. It's where I like to go when I hear thunder. Here at the Smash News Network, we endorse facts and we debunk frauds. I don't know why it's such a hobby. It just is. It's just a hobby, folks. Anyway, quite a lot of active lightning here around the Gulf Coast. No terrestrial lightning over the U.S., so we'll just move on to look at pressure cells and advance this into the European forecast for tomorrow. Here's the European forecast for pressure at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow. Moving on to the next rad, which has got some interference showing up in it here. I don't know if it's cosmic ray flux. Maybe it's a Borg spacecraft flying in between the geosynchronous satellite and the Earth. I don't know, and I really don't care. Next, we'll move on to the U.S. Doppler radar. Shout out to our Alaskan viewers. There is your Doppler radar. We're going to move down to Hawaii. Shout out to our Hawaiian viewers. Here's the lower 48. Oh, we've got quite a bit of moisture here over the eastern portion of the U.S. Let's take a look at the cloud layer. The shortwave radiation map, since it's too dark to use the visible satellite, and here is the water vapor satellite. We'll also show you a recap by going back to where we just were. We're going back. We're going back to the slides we just showed. We're going back. There is no rain falling in Hawaii, so we're not going to show it. Anyway, here's the cloud layer once again. And here is the water vapor map. I would also note that this extreme bend in the jet stream is going like this. And it's going to be causing cold air to be mixing up, causing massive pressure gradients and so on. That's today's meteorology segment. Thanks for tuning in. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. smAsho, signing off from the Smash News Network, least busted. Name it news.